about Christmas gift ideas, or not just Christmas. These are gift ideas that are good any time of the year. Because if you have anyone in your life who is into gardening or is into farming, then maybe they're hard to shop for. Because I know Ian and I, we find each other very hard to shop for.
Well, it's tough for us because we have the business of the farm, so it's like when we need stuff, the business just buys it, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then it's like, what do you get for a personal occasion when you just like to work all the time?
More business stuff, right? Here, scooch over a little bit. So before we go into ideas, I wanted to tell the story about the best gift that Ian has ever bought me, and it is right here. Sorry. It's this bucket. My favorite thing to do is to try to guess what presents are under the tree.
She's really good at it. She has it down to a science.
Yeah. And so Ian, and I love doing it because it like annoys my mom. This was like a family tradition. And so the joke is that like we guess colors and then just be right just based off of like, and then she'd go crazy. But so I do it to Ian. So Ian always wanted to challenge me, try to make it so I could never guess. And so one year this ended up under the Christmas tree, wrapped. And I was like, a bucket? It couldn't possibly just be a bucket. Why would he buy me a bucket? But after opening it and having this bucket, this ended up being probably one of the best things I've ever had. I use this so much. This bucket, because it's like, so what it is it's a feed bucket. So it's like metal, and it's like, so it holds water really good. And in my home garden, it was like the perfect size. I used to bring this around with me if I was weeding. So it would become like my little like compost bucket, or I would use it as a harvest bucket, or I'd haul water. So
that's a nice size. And it's durable.
It's a great bucket. So who would know, all these years later, the gift that I would love the most is this random bucket that he picked up.
I really had to search hard for it too.
He said, I think you said the story was that you were like buying something else at like
I was at Princess Auto, which is like an automotive and just like random tool place in Canada, and it was just like in a stack on a skid.
You were like in the line.
She'd like a bucket.
Yeah.
So you did like a bucket.
I did. It was a great gift. So moral of the story is don't underestimate weird gifts when you're giving them to gardeners and farmers, because it may end up being the best gift that they've ever gotten.
We've got a great gift idea because exciting news. Growing for Market is going to be sponsoring us, and so we're going to maybe do some live videos where we talk about articles that are in their magazine. But for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's a publication that is kind of like stories from articles from different farmers and stuff, and
but specifically farmers that are growing like to sell to market. So like similar to us, right? Like it's not like it's full of like all these like massive grain farmers, commodity crops. Like it's very relevant to like our style of farming.
And there is a fair amount of flower content in it. There's always some level of flower content in every single episode, which is exciting because obviously lots of our audience is interested in the flower stuff. Right on the top, on the cover of this one is about ranunculus and anemones, and it's part 2.
Yeah. Every episode every I don't even know. What
magazine edition
is that what volume? I don't know.
Yeah, do you call it it says volume on it.
Yeah.
You call it a volume, or you can call it an edition.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. But so every single one has at least one article about growing flowers, and that one of the original founders of the magazine is, I always get her name wrong because I don't actually know how to say it. Lynn, are you gonna try?
I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna let you crash and burn.
Anyway, she wrote this incredible book all about flower farming. So, you know, the basis of the magazine is like, you know, someone who was really great about sharing knowledge that we all love about flower farming. So I've been going through it. I've really been enjoying it. So it actually mails out a physical hard copy of the magazine.
Yeah.
For all of the, I almost said episode again. For all the editions. And it's really nice. It's like shiny, and the pictures are really beautiful. There's like lots of pictures in it. You know, and I like having a physical copy for, you know, like when you're sitting around, when you're sitting around, and you need like to like just pick up something to read.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that in a polite way. So, you know, I really like having the physical copy, but if you get the more advanced version of the subscription, you get access to all the older articles. And so I've been going through and I've been reading, you know, on my phone. I just have it on my phone because I just like sign in. And there's like, you know, it started in 1992. So there's articles since 1992 for me to flip back at.
Yeah.
You know, 30 years worth of knowledge. So I've been doing a lot of research. I was reading a lot of it when we were on vacation to, you know, start to get some more of that knowledge, because if we're going to be growing just flowers,
yeah,
there is a lot for me to learn.
And you know, they share a lot of the same values that we do. So, you know, if you're looking for something for somebody, then maybe consider getting them a subscription. You know.
Yeah, totally.
I think it would be something that a lot of people would enjoy having around.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like necessarily only relevant to if you were farming.
No,
like
I think it's got interest to anyone who's like interested in growing.
Yeah, I'd say like maybe if you're like someone who's like a beginner grower, it's not. But if you're past like beginning growing, you know, you're gonna be getting lots and lots of tips out of this. And so down in the description of the video, they shared, we have a link, and so we have a coupon code. So if you are getting a new subscription of Growing for Market magazine, it's a 25% off coupon for that. So it's a really good deal. Is that the magazine, you get a physical copy of it. And I'm pretty sure you can also get like the PDF, so like online version of it with your subscription. Or there's like a little bit more expensive subscription, and then you get access to like their archive of articles. So you get every single magazine that they've ever put out, every single article, and the like. Because that's what I really like. That's, you know, I enjoyed reading every single article in here. But I've been really enjoying searching through and finding the specific articles, the things that I want to do some more research on. And it's really easy to search. You know, sometimes like you have to actually physically flip through like magazines in like old articles, but the search function for it like works really great. It's been really easy. And then it does like, we recommend checking out this one.
I like flipping through the magazine because it's got all kinds of ads for farmers.
Yeah, I like totally. The ads, I'm like the ads are like
that? Ooh, that looks good.
I'm like, oh, I didn't know that like I could find this. So they're in the States. They're based out of the States. But
they're in Maine or something like that?
Yeah. That rings a bell.
Yeah. So like
but they do ship internationally.
Yeah.
Because we're in Canada and we have a copy. So So it is an option, I think. And if it isn't an option for shipping to every country, the online is still an option because it's just the internet. But yeah, so we're really excited, and they sponsored this video. So definitely go down, check it out. Link in the description, and it's that specific link is the 25% off code. So so use that one to get the deal. But yeah, we're really enjoying it, and yeah, I've been learning a ton.
Yeah.
So we were really excited when they contacted us because I'd been, I'd heard about it and I'd been like, oh, I like want to check it out anyways. And so
yeah, because they put ads on some of the
all
podcasts
of our
that
favorite podcasts
we listen to, and I think Josh Satin has some on his videos sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to say.
I mean, I mostly listen to podcasts.
I know I've seen it in some other places.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to be part of the team, right? Because we're all trying to encourage either like local farming, local food, whether you're the farmer or you're the customer, we all have a role to play in ensuring that communities can feed themselves, right? And this is just one more way to share that message or information. So we're excited to surround ourselves with people with similar goals to us.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing I'd say when it comes to like the knowledge side, because like that's a bunch of the stuff that we're going to be sharing is stuff that's like knowledge based. And if you can get just like a tiny tip, like a tip that seems like insignificant, you just get these like little tidbits. Like you can get a tidbit that saves you like 10 hours a year, right? Like this tidbit that just like saves you 10 minutes a day or like 10 minutes per harvest, and it adds up to being this like, if you want to actually place like an per hour cost to it, like you can, sometimes these little bits of knowledge that you get here and there can be really transformative to what you do.
Yeah.
Like I think of the tip that we got from watching, was it Sunflower Steve harvesting sunflowers? And so
where you go in the morning.
So what he'd do is he'd strip the leaves off of the sunflowers before then picking the flowers. And stripping the leaves off while it's still attached is way easier than stripping the leaves off after you've cut it. And so picking up that tip
made the harvesting.
It made harvesting so much faster.
And just like what he did with it, where he'd go out and he'd select which ones needed to be harvested by stripping them, and then like his employees could come along and do it. The same thing could happen with Serena and I too. Like
I could strip.
She could strip, and then I can just go and harvest when she's tight for time and I have a bit more. Sometimes I'm just following her with the camera while she's doing it. So,
as you guys know.
Yeah. I think sometimes about how much more time all the farming stuff takes just because we film it. And it's like, it really does add up a lot. Especially when you try to do like more interesting like shots. Like I've been trying to make the footage, more exciting and stuff. And it's like, it takes a lot of time to move the camera around. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it really adds up.
Well, there's a tip for efficiency.
Don't start a YouTube channel.
Don't start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next group of gift ideas that I wanted to talk about is books. So here, why don't you intro this one? Because this one's a great one that's not for farming.
Yeah, this is more for like the general knowledge, and this was one of our first like growing books that we got as a couple, I'd say.
This was a present. Ev bought this for us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is a friend of ours. This was like her go-to present anytime someone like picked up gardening as like a hobby. If they're interested in starting to garden, she'd gift them this book. And I agree with the title. It's like it's all you need.
It's a really good I think the first half was talking about like growing, and then the back half was kind of like a little blurb on every single thing you can grow.
Yeah, so here's the back. Here it's like potatoes, everything you need to know about growing potatoes, and then it's just done by like crop alphabetical. Yeah. But it teaches you how to make a garden. Yeah. It teaches you succession planting. It teaches you everything.
I remember when because we got this before we were farming. We got this back when we were just gardening, and I check up on it all the time. I don't so much anymore, but like there was a long time when I just go open it up and like before I go plant something, I'd be like, oh, let's just see what the book says, right? And yeah, so if you know somebody who wants a book like that, then it's a pretty good Christmas idea, right?
Mm-hmm. And I would say that this one is, if you're brand new to gardening, it's relevant, but even if you have been gardening for a while, it's not like it's a beginner book. It's like a beginner intermediate book.
Yeah.
So there's still lots to get out of it. And so this we have as a link below to be able to check it out, because I don't think we put names for people I didn't put the names in. I just put the titles of the books.
Yeah.
And then another book, I don't have it on hand because I read it so often that I brought it with us on our trip. It's the book that I was talking about, it's like one of those crazy Russian, like there's like W's and Y's and stuff. Okay, look it up for me on your phone, and I'll try to say it. But yeah, it's The Flower Farmer by her, and it's like, when I was like, maybe we should start a flower farm, I got this book, and it taught me everything I needed to know to start a flower farm. And it's similar to the other book where we showed, where like the back half is just like a reference guide.
I think that they're the same.
Yeah, no, that's the book. Okay. By Lynn Basinski.
Okay. BYCZYNSKI.
Okay, cover my face. Will it focus?
No, you're not even putting it on the screen.
I don't know. It's there. It's not focusing, but it's an amazing book, and I think even if you're only interested in cut flowers, it's like okay, sorry, that doesn't make sense. If you're interested in just like having cut flowers in your garden, it would still be good.
Yeah.
Right?
That was your like go-to starting point.
Yeah. Basically, before we moved here and we had a garden, this one lived in the bathroom. That's like why it's all curled up from like getting steamed in the bathroom. And then when we moved to the farm, the Liz Basinski, The Flower Farmer, became the bathroom book. And
now this one is kind of the bathroom book.
Yeah. And then this summer, this one became the bathroom book.
I think when somebody sent this to us.
Yeah, this was a present.
Yeah.
This was a present from one of you guys.
One of the fun things about doing YouTube is every now and then you just go to the mailbox and there's a gift.
I know. And speaking of that, we have to say thank you, because we got a gift just the other day, and I think it was inspired from the Halloween market where we like whined through the whole video about like being our cold. Hands like being frozen.
Yeah, like insulated gloves.
Yeah, they're like, we got a set of these insulated gloves, but there was no like slip. There like usually there's like a little like gift slip.
Yeah, and it gives you a name, so you can say thanks. But
yeah,
whoever you are,
thank you, because there's 2 sets, one for each of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Florette. So Ian, have you flipped through this at all? Because it's been living in the bathroom.
Yeah, I looked at pictures. I didn't read it.
It is like this is a total picture book.
Yeah.
This is Florette. Oh, here we still have the thank you note. These are, let's see, Nancy bought it for us. So it comes with like a little gift note. They said, "I really enjoy watching your YouTube videos. Thank you. Enjoy your gift." That's so nice. Yeah, but so this book is like, this is perfect bathroom book because it's just pictures, and it's done by the seasons. And so it's like, oh, this is stuff to like make a bouquet in spring, and then she talks about different like design, like ways to design bouquets and stuff. I didn't link this one. The book that I linked below is Florette's first book, because this is her like second or third one. And this one I would say is more about like how to make arrangements and how to think about seasonal flowers, where her first book is more about like how to be a flower farmer.
Mhm.
And it was a book that I like took out of the library and read, the one that I have linked below. And I really enjoyed it. And like this one's fun because it's like a fun picture book. And I've definitely learned a lot. It's made me think a lot about arranging.
Yeah.
But if I was only going to get one, I'd get the one that I linked below.
Yeah. But, you know, you guys should check out this Florette. I think she's going to go somewhere. She's really exploding. I think she's going to really...
Ian's making a joke because she's like super famous. She's like 3 books and a television show and like a massive, like 1 million people on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of you guys' minds being blown by being introduced by Ian to Florette. Okay.
Well, this book is like another one of the Bibles for us, right? It's Kurt's urban farming book, because this book was basically his farm in Kelowna, like written in paper. And then we're in Kelowna, so we'll just do this. So then we just did this. You know, like all the it gets into very specific information that that a lot of other books are more general. You know, like it has like the numbers or the spacings and or like this is the you know cedar wheel you use for this, and you know like really good information.
Yeah.
So you know like everything, you know, farming is kind of like more locational than anything, right? So this is for our climate, but I think a lot of people, this is a good starting point if you're actually wanting to farm. This is a great book to start with, because you know it'll answer a lot of those questions that you have, and then you know you can have a starting point, and then you can go from there to see what you need to do for your growing zone, because Kurt did grow in Kelowna, and Kelowna is, you know, unlike really too many other places.
I feel like his information's pretty good. Like,
but for us, it was just like
we didn't have to like rethink anything. Yeah, and the thing I really like about the Urban Farmer book,
we got somebody at the door.
That is, maybe it's a cat. The thing that I really like about Kurt's book is a lot of other farming books are really focused on the growing. It was a cat. We have a cat here. But Kurt was very focused on building a business. So I really liked his book, just because if you can't make money, then you can't farm for a job.
Yeah.
And so he does a really good job of explaining the business side while also explaining the growing side. And then we also have Grounded by Liz Zorab, and she's one of our YouTube friends. So if you don't watch her channel, you should go check her out. And she wrote this book, and this book is fun. It's different from the other ones, because a lot of the other ones that we've shared here are like knowledge books, and this is loaded full of knowledge. But this is basically like the story of how she created her like kind of permaculture farm
and her media empire.
Well, it's not really about that.
No,
but it's like the story of creating a garden. You know, and she has lots of struggles that she has to overcome in it. So it's a really fun read, because it's a story with knowledge sprinkled in. So you'll get to the end of it and you'll have read through it because you can't wait to hear what happens next in her garden story. But then you'll come away being like, oh, I have all these great tips that I never thought of. So it's the spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. But yeah, total great for anyone who like an intro to gardening or more advanced gardening and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that one. Let's see. Let's see if that's all the books. Okay, that's all the books. Okay, and then here's an Ian gift.
Yeah, pruning saw.
Okay, be careful for my face for pulling it out.
Yeah, this is the Silky.
You can pull it out.
I know, but it came out with
Prunings.
bits of wood. So these things are amazing. I started using these out in forestry. Because I had forestry equipment, and there'd always be logs that would get jammed up in the tracks or in the hydraulic hoses, and so I'd always have one of these in my machine, so I could just go cut it out. Because otherwise, you could easily, you have to call a chainsaw guy to come cut out, a log that fell on your hoses or something like that, and that's losing productivity time. But I started using them, and I was like, holy, these things really rip through wood. Like you can cut, like with this, I'd still cut, like logs. It would take a bit of time to do a big log like that, but it
not
would,
as long as you think it would.
yeah, and not as long as like even getting on the radio and calling to get a chainsaw guy. But around the farm, most of the time I don't even fire up a chainsaw anymore. I just grab this because unless you're doing firewood or something like that. And you just need to make a few cuts. These just rip so good. They just really, really cut. So, if you have a property, nothing easier than having a pruning saw. That's a nice one. And these Silky ones, I haven't tried a lot of the other brands, but the Silky one is supposed to be one of the best brands. So I went with that.
And I would say they're expensive. Right?
Yeah,
they're a little bit of like I had a little bit of sticker shock because we bought a Silky like pole saw and it was expensive. Like this is like almost $100, right?
Yeah, you can replace the blades on them, so you still have this handle bit, but the blade is the majority of the cost. So when you go to change it,
but
it's still
like what I was gonna say is I found a pruning saw. Like in a shed, like we have had other pruning saws that I've gone to use that are not this Silky one, and I'm like it doesn't work, right? It's like why what am I trying to do? It doesn't work. Makes me feel like I'm gonna cut myself, and then I grab this, and I'm like, oh, like it's like night and day, right? So this is definitely the type of tool where it's a lot of money to get the good one. But it's a waste of money to get the not good.
I have another one that's like a Still brand one, and it's maybe 2/3 of the size of this. It's kind of like up to there, and I find that it works a third as good. Like it takes a lot more effort to cut with that than with the bigger one. So if you're getting one, just get the big one, and then you've got. It's just so easy to prune around the farm. Always, there's kind of like the pruning season in the spring for me. I just go around with that whenever Serena's not looking, and I start pruning all the trees because I have my vision.
Well, technically, I'm not going to complain if someone's pruning the trees.
Well, yeah, but you have in the past not wanted me to prune as much as I did, but then I just do it and then I clean it all up, and then you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Because who cares, right?
Yeah, exactly. Once it's done, it's done.
Yeah, there's not going back.
Okay, the next thing we have on the list, and this is the best gift of all. If you ever want to send us a present, this is what I always want, because you can have an infinite of these and never have enough, and it is garden gloves. Because you go through them, right? Here on the farm, we usually get 20 pairs at the beginning of the season, and then I this time of year I have to go through because the fingers wear out. I usually I'll wear through a pair of them.
Yeah, the stripping
in a couple
the stripping
weeks.
is hard on them.
Yeah, And
And
the
the
digging in the dirt.
Sitting on the ground.
Yeah, I also I mistreat them.
Mm-hmm.
And they get wet, which like can kind of make them like go, if they get left in like a puddle, then they go kind of wonky. But yeah, then like, and I was laughing because so I have a link down below for the garden gloves on Amazon, and I was like, whoa, this is a good deal. I should buy these. Yeah, I really like the nitrile ones, which is the link. I've had leather ones before, and they're expensive and they look fancy, but I don't like them as much as the cheapy ones.
Yeah.
But I am loving
the leather
those
ones
insulated ones.
Are good for other things.
Yeah.
Every glove has its purpose.
Every glove has its purpose. Okay. Then another one that I have on there is a gardening hat, like a sun hat.
Because you got to be sun safe, right?
Yeah, because you got to be sun safe. I was running around before the video started because I was going to I have a new hat. I have a winter hat.
You do. you have been buying lots of hats.
I know. I graduated from my summer hat into my winter hat.
Serena got this nice haircut, and then she got her nice trendy.
Yeah, my fancy hat.
Trendy hat, and so now she looks very trendy.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a good thing? Is that a compliment?
Giant collar.
Ian hates this sweater.
I do.
But I like the sweater. But yeah, so the link that I have is to a Tilly sun hat. Because if you're gonna buy a hat, you might as well buy a nice one. But I have bought those like really cheap. I have like one of the cheap fishing hats, and then it has like a piece that hangs down the front, and it came with like a veil for the front.
Yeah.
And that one's cool because it folds in half, so you can like transport it really easily. But even the cheap ones are actually pretty comfortable. And then the only thing is size. You want to make sure that it fits good around the head. So
I got a hat around this time last year because I have like a full brimmed hat that I like to wear specifically the year before, and like I got a pretty predominant nose here, and the tip of my nose would not be in the shade; it would be in the sun. So even with the full brimmed hat, I was still getting my nose burnt, which is like one of the most sensitive spots for me, because like it always got burnt when I was a kid. So I was like, I need like a really big brimmed hat. I need like a sombrero essentially, right? And
which is exactly what he bought.
Yeah, on like a Facebook group for farmers, somebody was talking about hats like last winter, and somebody was like, the only hat you need, and it was the one that I ended up getting. So I was like, he's right. This is the hat. This is the hat that the brim.
Ian like was like, this hat. He had like the eyes, and I was like, don't do it, because it was like $100.
It was so.
And then I knew it was gonna have like import fees to get to Canada.
It was almost. It was probably about 80% of the cost of the hat, additional to ship it and for duties and stuff. It was very expensive because the box it came in. I mean, I can't even show you. The box was like this.
Here, I'm gonna go get my hat.
But when it was crazy hot here this summer, that hat made it so that I could still be productive, because that hat just kept the sun off. Instead of like me getting sun kind of like in here, the sun was like out here, and it made it so that I didn't get like crazy hot when we were hotter than Vegas, whatever it was. So that hat kept me working. You know? And that hat.
It makes a huge difference. It makes, like, we talk about hats all the time, and like one of these days I would love to be sponsored by Tilly, because I'm like, we need to be sponsored by a hat company.
I want to be
sponsored by the sombrero company.
It was like inside it was like had a made by, it was like made by a person, and then it had it
was like a small. It's like a small.
Well, it's not small.
No, the company. It's like a small handmade like American hat company.
Yeah, they're in California. I don't have the name of them.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to find it yourself.
I mean, perfect example of what I was saying earlier about just like one little tip can make a huge difference to your season. You know, just this one person being like, I really love this hat.
Yeah.
You know, and it just made the season so much more comfortable for Ian.
Yeah, I couldn't have did what I did, you know?
Yeah, so this is my fancy new hat, and it has ear flaps. It has like, can't really see it because it's coloring my hair, but it has these ear flap pieces that come down.
Go up.
So you can wear it up, and it's wool, so it's warm, but then it's sun safe, right? Like, because there's still sun in the winter. And when you get as much sun as we do, you want 0 sun. But yeah, and then the pieces fold down on my ears. I really like it. Yeah, and this is a Tilly hat.
Yeah, it looks good on you.
Yeah, it's a really nice hat.
Serena bought. She was like in the market for some hats like that, and I mean it's not as good a look.
It's
not
not as good of a look as this one.
This one, the only thing that could make this better is if this was one of those like pretend beards.
Well, I mean, I can turn it into whatever I want. In my opinion, it would be better if it had like a nose bridge to stay on my nose. This is the one that I was talking about. That it folds.
I'll be back. I'm gonna go check the kids.
They're fine.
Grab a cat.
No, they're fine. Yeah. So this is like one of those fishing hats. And these hats are actually really affordable. But they're actually really comfy for working out in the sun. So I highly recommend those hats. We're obsessed with hats, but it's nice to have lots of hats. And it's one of those things. It's like the garden gloves. I obsess about the garden gloves because the garden gloves are partially like a safety thing in the same way that the hats are a safety thing. I want to have something on my hands so that I'm not cutting my hands. And so if my hands are cut, there's like an extra layer of protection because there's lots of different like bacteria and things that can, you know, hurt your hands when you're working in the dirt all the time.
Here's a gift idea.
Oh, a cat.
A cat.
I mean,
everybody wants a cat.
I mean, like we could have just said that, and then the video could be over. Gift idea: a cat.
Now you got another cat.
Now we got another cat. Sam
Yeah.
just came in.
Okay, Ian.
Oh.
You have fanny pack down.
Oh yeah. Well, fanny packs are pretty efficient little devices as well, right? Because I like having the fanny pack on when we're. No, Sam, you can't play with that right now. No, you can't make all the noise.
Okay. We gained something other than a cat. Okay, so I'll talk about my next one before Ian comes back. Ian can bring a prop. You can bring your fanny pack, Ian. Okay, so my next thing, which is like the garden gloves, where I need an infinite number of these, and I always am happy to get more, is these like garden snips. And these are what I use to like harvest all the flowers. And I use them for harvesting, like, you know, tomatoes or pruning the tomatoes. You know, any of these like smaller jobs where you don't need like to cut through like wood. I love these. And my favorite is the one, these are like the flat blade. So they're straight, but my favorite have a little curve to it. And I like the way, like when I stick it in to cut inside of the plants, the curve is like really ergonomic to work with. And then I like them where they have like the little loop. So if the loop's off, they default to open. So then, you know, it's nice and easy in the hand. And then when you're not using it, this loop holds it really nicely. So in our fanny pack, which is another gift idea, I always have a pair of these. Someone's asking for brand. So the brand that I have on these is Corona. And they aren't like a super expensive brand, the Corona ones, which is part of why I like it. These like they get trashed, right? Someone was saying they get like all gunked up. I would rather have many of these than one really expensive pair, because they're still gonna get gunked up. So the link is to a Corona one specifically. And for them getting gunked up, I do a clean on them, because another thing, you want to be cleaning your Snips. Because Fiskars is like another brand, and that's like the really nice one, right? Fiskars, is that the expensive pruner brand? No, Felco. Felco's like the really expensive one, right?
Yeah. Another great gift idea.
Another cat.
Another cat.
No, okay. So if they're getting gunked up, you can clean them off. What I've used many things to clean them. I use rubbing alcohol, and that cleans the gunkiness off of them. And then it also sterilizes them. I have used I have like a food grade lubricant that I've used to clean them up. Because they get so gunked up that they start to, this one's a good example. It's pretty dirty. And if
can you hear that?
Can you hear the squeak? The squeak is when they're starting to get there.
That's extra effort.
Yeah, extra effort, which is exactly what you don't want. And then we've done WD-40 to clean them, and then have cleaned them off after.
Somebody has 7 cats.
7 cats.
Well, you should get.
Well, what you should get? Another cat.
Another cat.
I've been trying to convince Ian to buy me. Oh yeah, Dawn dishwasher. So that would be a good idea, probably, for cleaning the stuff off. Okay, talk about your fanny pack.
Well, we have 3 fanny packs that we use.
We have way more than 3.
That we use.
Okay.
For the farm. Because I have a fanny pack for the market, and then I have a fanny pack for the farm, and then Serena has her fanny pack for the farm because she doesn't do markets. She ain't like that. And I just like having an easy place to put your snips, and then to put a big old pile of elastic bands, because my fingers don't work super well for holding on to the elastic bands. So it's nice to have a little pocket to pull them out of. And so whenever I'm harvesting, it's just so much faster to have that. And I like it better than I'm not wearing a belt all the time. I'm always in jogging pants because I'm pretty relaxed like that. I'm not a pants with belt type guy. I'm a jogging pants type guy. So I'd rather wear a fanny pack than things always fall out of those.
Yeah, and
those belt things anyways.
The reason why I love the fanny pack is that I put my cell phone into it, and then I zipper it shut. And so, those, what are tool belts? Because lots of people use, tool belt or a holster where it's on the side. But I'm not just standing and working. I'm, bending over, I'm crawling around, I'm up and down, and so I like the zipper fact on the fanny pack. And then the other thing that I personally really like about the fanny pack as, a tool belt is if I'm doing stuff where I'm standing up and I want to be grabbing, it's in the front. But if I'm down on the ground and I'm crawling around, I just slide it to the back, and then it's comfortable. You can move it to wherever you want it to sit on your body really easily. So I highly recommend a fanny pack. And I feel like the fanny pack is like the bucket that we talked about at the beginning of the video. The fanny pack is one of those items where you give it to someone and they're like, why did you buy this for me? This is so weird. But then as soon as they start using it, they're like, oh, okay, no, now I get it. Ian, it took me a year of having it before Ian was now I'm jealous of your fanny pack.
Yeah.
Because when I told him I was getting it, he was like, you're ridiculous. And then he was like, no, I see the vision.
This guy, he was our barn cat, but he's been spending most of his time in the house, and things have been going pretty good. We have to kick him out of the house a couple of times a day because he doesn't really use the kitty litter very well, or he's so big that he misses it, and then it's a lot of cleanup. So we kick him out at least twice a day, and he's like, no. I go to pick him up, and he's all curled up in a bed, and he's like, oh. oh no, claws in it. But him and Bo haven't been fighting very much, which has been good. And all the cats that he used to beat up are all gone. So, that's been going pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking the other day.
People keep being like, "Where's Fatty? He's never in the videos anymore." And it's because he's like in our bed.
Yeah.
That's like all he does.
He's not allowed in our bed when we're sleeping though, because he's kind of gross. But the rest of the day he's like sleeping there. And we were talking about it the other day. It's like if you wrote a show and you had a character that was as one-dimensional as Fatty, then people would be like, it's not believable. Because literally all he wants is pets. That's it. He just wants to sit on laps and be pet. He just wants attention. Usually, I think he clocks it out at about 3 hours. Maybe after 3 hours, if you pet him for 3 hours, he might be like, okay, now I'm hungry.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer.
But I love when you give him some pets, and then he's like reaches for you. He's like, oh, please, more attention. That's what I want.
He's definitely a lap cat.
Mm-hmm.
He was pitched as a barn cat,
But
that's definitely lies. They can't see his belly. You'd have to like hurt him in order to show his belly. No, you can't do that. Well, he's too big.
You have to like support him a bunch when you pick him up because he's almost 20 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Okay, Earthway Cedar.
Yeah, I think that the Earthway Cedar is cheap enough that that you don't have to be a farmer to do it.
They're about $100.
Yeah, like 120, 130, I think when I checked.
Yeah.
But it could be different in America too.
Yeah,
right?
well, it'd be way cheaper in America.
And we don't use the Earthway for a lot of things that we use the Jang for, but we still use the Earthway for stuff. And you could just invest the time into figuring out how the Earthway can work for you. You just have to be careful that that some of the pieces, they're not as like sturdy as like a Jang, so you have to be like more observant when you're doing it. But once you get it all figured out, it works perfect. And then you can do things like you can seed an entire bed of carrots or whatever it is, right?
It's crazy how much time it saves.
Yeah,
I'd say like if you have like 100 square foot garden, it's not going to be useful. But if you have like 1,000 square foot garden and you grow like beds of stuff, so what an Earthway, what an Earthway cedar is it's what are they called, like a precision cedar. So what it does is it, instead of like you standing there and like dropping seeds, you put seeds into
2 big wheels
into a hopper. So it's like 2 wheels, and you push it along and it drops down seeds at like a set amount of seeds.
It has like a little plow, so it opens up a hole and then it drops the seed in, and then it closes the hole, and then the back wheel flattens it. So it goes from closed, open, drop seed in, closes back up, and then flattens it out.
Yeah.
And it's the whole time the little like disc is spinning, grabbing more seeds, and you can customize the disc size to the seed size, and then also to the seed spacing. So
yeah, so we have 2 cedars. We have the Earthway cedar, and then we have the Jang cedar. And the Earthway cedar was like $100, and then the Jang cedar was $1,000.
Yeah, so the Jang that's not really a gift.
Yeah, it's not really a gift.
But if you have like a big homestead garden or something like that, and you wanted to like give somebody a gift that would make their life easier,
Totally.
It would be a fun thing to have as a gardener to expand your capabilities, right?
Yeah, totally. And we have the Jang cedar. The Jang cedar is a lot more precise. It does a lot better job of doing like exactly what you want it to do. But you have to.
Oh wow!
Thank you so much, Cassie. That's really generous.
Really nice. Thanks.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Did you hear that, Fatty? You're gonna get
You're getting Christmas gifts.
Christmas gifts, boys. Yay.
So the Jang cedar it's really precise, but every single time you want it to be precise, you need to buy a new wheel.
Oh wow.
Oh, thanks so much, Letitia. Love your videos. You guys are an inspiration for me. Thank you. Well, thank you. But it's always nice to hear that the videos are useful too. I'm getting distracted now. What am I trying to say? Okay, so the Jang cedar, very precise, so you can get it to do exactly what you want. Whereas like the Earthway, it's a little,
it weighs like 20% of the.
Yeah, it weighs like nothing. It's like made out of plastic. The Jang is like metal. It's very like.
It's heavy, and the weight is part of
what makes it work so good.
Because it doesn't just it doesn't just glide over the ground. That roller is always going as it's moving, and sometimes the Earthway, it might just kind of push along, and it's like the wheels aren't spinning because it's so light. Mm-hmm. Or you're pushing down into it. But that being said, you gotta figure it out.
Yeah, totally. But the point I was gonna make is the issue with the Jang is every single time you want to do a different seed, you need to buy another one of these wheels, and the wheels are like $30 each. At least, right? So it's like, at this point, because I bought a bunch for sunflowers this last year.
Yeah.
But I think we're up to like having like 10 of these wheels. But it's like 3 wheels and you're to the price of the Earthway cedar, right? Like, so the Jang is quite expensive. Makes sense for us as a business because it's a lot more precise. But there also is, even though we have the Jang, even though I bought the wheels and I will keep investing into more of the wheels, I still go to grab the Earthway because it's so light sometimes. The Jang is heavy enough that it's a little awkward for me to use. So if I'm trying to like seed into like the edge of a greenhouse where like, the walls are curved, so it's like kind of short and I'm like trying to like get into the corners, I'll grab the Earthway just because it's like so much easier to maneuver. So even here on the farm, invested into a Jang quite significantly. We still use the Earthway, and like we still find the Earthway to have a lot of value.
What else we got?
And the Earthway until this year when I started experimenting with the Jang for the sunflowers, the Earthway was my go-to for the sunflowers, and I don't know that I'm more happy with the Jang and sunflowers than the Earthway, though I can keep working towards more precision with the Jang, whereas the Earthway, it is what it is.
Here's the ultimate Christmas gift. This one's funny. Salanova lettuce. Heard us talk about it before. We love the Salanova. I've been eating bags and bags of it lately because we harvested a bunch recently. It does so good in the cold. So if you're in like a colder climate, it's really fun to have a bunch of it, kind of like planted in the late summer and then just let it sit in the field, into this time of year. And, once the snow starts to hit, you'll lose some of it, but it's so good.
Yep.
We got kids coming needing big, strong hands. Leah's are you making your lunch for tomorrow?
And my brothers.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, go get some Salanova lettuce and like give it as a gift. And somebody will be like, it's kind of weird. You got me lettuce seed. But then when it comes time to eat it, they will understand and they will think of you, and they will be like, that turned out to be the most amazing gift ever because I've never tasted lettuce that tastes so good. Oh.
So the conversation for like Ian, because Ian was like, no, this has to be on the list. And the conversation we were having is we were trying to think of what are bad gift ideas. And I was saying that seeds are a bad gift idea because, if someone gifts me seeds, like I'm kind of like, oh, I'm going to say thank you. But I'm very picky about what I grow, right? So if someone gifts me seeds and it's not exactly what I want, I'll just give them away to someone else, and I'll go and I'll buy
the ones that you want.
ones, because I'm putting all this time and effort in, like, I want it to be exactly what I want it to be. So like I've been saying that seeds were actually a bad gift idea. I'd
and then I was like, unless it's Salanova.
And then I was like, well, yeah, okay, right?
You can't go wrong with Salanova.
Because you can't. The one thing about it is it's
Here,
like,
I'm gonna go get the leftover bag that I didn't finish.
Okay, the thing with the Salanova is it's expensive enough seeds that people they're resistant to buying it, right? And I was the same too, because they are very expensive. Especially because lettuce seed in general is very cheap. So I was like, why am I going to pay all this money for this lettuce seed? I want to find like a cheaper one. So it's a good example of when people don't want to like spend money for expensive things for themselves. Like
look at that texture and that crunch. Oh, it's so good.
This is the sweet green crisp.
This
specific variety.
This is my favorite to eat. This is less cold hardy than the butter crunch.
Thank you so much, Black Dog.
I really appreciate that.
That's so generous.
This one, when the cold weather starts, like the bottom leaves start to die back, and then the rot can spread. But this is like, I got 25 bags of this, and I harvested it.
No, don't do that.
Can I have some potato fish?
Yeah, but so Salanova, it's a good gift idea because it's hard to spend the money on it, but it's like a luxury item. Once you have it, you're gonna like appreciate how great it is. And it's only available from Johnny Seeds. So if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna buy seeds for someone, it does seem like a safe bet, because it's one of those things that if they don't already buy it for themselves, they'll probably really enjoy it. I'm trying to think of like so some of the other things that we were saying is like bad gift ideas, because I feel like as good as it is to give some examples of like, these are things that we like, the bad gift ideas are like also as helpful. So I hate like garden gimmick things. It's like, we keep saying like you could have a tip that like saves you all these hours, and so you could have like a tool that saves you tons and tons of hours, but I see so many of these like really bad tools and really bad like gardening items like advertised at me on Facebook all the time, or I'll be like in the hardware store and I'll be like, oh, you should buy this, or cheap tools. I think going back to like what we were saying about like the Silky saw, right? Like I used a cheap pruning saw, and like it was hard to use, and it just felt like it was gonna slip and I was gonna cut myself. But then you spend a little bit more money, on the Silky one, and it's really nice and it's really great to use. So I'd say if someone's like, oh, I'm looking for this, but the cost of the item.
Oh, this guy takes up a lot of real estate.
Fatty's still here snuggling. If the cost of the item is higher than your gift budget, don't necessarily go and like buy the cheap knockoff version. Because with tools, you really do get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. I was talking about bad gift ideas. I was saying like garden gimmick things.
Yeah.
But you never know, right? Like I think of like, so there's something called the seeding square, which is like, it's just a square of plastic with some holes in it. And it's like, it has spacing for square foot gardening. And so that'd be a horrible gift for me, because like, I know spacing for everything I already grow. But my mom has one, and it's great, and she uses it all the time. And it's like super helpful for people who have a hard time visualizing space, to understand like what 6-inch spacing means. So I kind of feel like garden gimmicks.
Yeah.
They have to be like bought.
Reason.
They have to be bought for yourself, like not as a gift.
Somebody asked, did you answer them about what the Salanova varieties were? Somebody asked a question about.
Well, we kind of said. So what we personally grow, because there's about 8 varieties now.
Yeah.
And we haven't done the oak leaf before, because I feel like that's a newer one. But I think maybe I ordered some.
I think that they came out with 2 new varieties last year.
Yeah, and I think that was the
We haven't
oak
grown
leaf.
them yet.
My favorite is the green sweet crisp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my favorite because it has the texture of like a romaine or an iceberg. It's like crunchy and juicy.
Yeah, and it's also substantial.
Mm-hmm. And heavy, super heavy. But then it has the flavor of like a real lettuce.
Yeah, and like it can get really big. That one can be very bulky per head. Whereas the butter crunch, they don't add up to, like, they don't grow as big of a head as lettuce. And all of the green varieties grow probably 50% bigger than the red varieties.
Part of it is like, I think the red is more sensitive to heat.
For whatever reason it is, in our particular location, the reds only get to about half the size of the greens. I think that's fair to say.
No, half is like significant.
Yeah, they're significantly smaller.
The red, so the green sweet crisp, and then the red sweet crisp. That is accurate. But I don't think that the red butter lettuce is half the size of the green butter lettuce. They're slightly
they're definitely smaller.
But the worst grower, so we grow the 4, and the worst performing one is the red sweet crisp. To the point that I'm kind of like, why are we even bothering with this one? It could get cut out of the mix, and we could put something else in it instead. But yeah, I'm excited to try the oak leaf ones. They look really pretty, and they all taste amazing.
Yep.
Okay, so we have one last thing on our list, and then we'll answer some questions because I saw people want to know about the wreaths. Okay, so the last thing on the list is grow lights, and so the reason why grow lights is probably like one of the best actual physical items. I'd say after like the magazine and the books, this might be the best gift item. And it's because you need... Sam's being crazy. Fatty's like, oh my god, hide. Okay, it's too loud, Sam. So the grow lights are such a perfect gift idea because this is the perfect time of year that you need them, right? Like going into January, February is exactly the time of year of when you're gonna start doing the seed starting and all that, and that's when you need the grow lights for it. So if you give them for Christmas, they're there like just in time to get used. Like a bunch of these other gifts are kind of stuff that you have to wait until spring comes around to use, whereas the grow lights are a little bit more timely. Oh, and another gift idea that we had, which it's not a great Christmas idea unless you're like in Australia or New Zealand, where it's the middle of the summer, but this is the best Mother's Day gift idea, and that is buy a truckload of like dirt or compost or mulch. I've heard many women in my life tell me that they were gifted a big truckload of mulch or compost for Mother's Day, and it was the best thing anyone could have ever bought them for Mother's Day. So there's a bonus one, or maybe like buy a bale of potting soil, big bag of potting soil to go along with those grow lights. Take up some real estate, have like this big massive bale of soil wrapped up under the Christmas tree. That would be entertaining. But yeah, So there's some gift ideas if you have. I'm assuming that most of you guys aren't necessarily watching this because you don't know what to buy, a gardener or a farmer. I'm assuming that you guys are the gardeners and farmers. But we were trying to think of gifts that were kind of like not super expensive stuff that like you could actually give people. Oh yeah, someone's saying a heating mat. That is another great gift idea. That's the same kind of, not a crazy price point, but something that's really useful. And if someone's already doing seed starting, so they've had the lights and they have the trays and stuff, but they haven't had a seed mat for themselves or a heat mat, that's a great little upgrade to be able to add on to their system. Yeah, so before I answer the questions, I want to just go back so this video is sponsored by Growing for Market magazine, and this is like the first one that we started out talking about, that this is like a great gift idea to get a subscription to the magazine. And in the description of the video, we have a link which has a coupon code for 25% off on the magazine. So if you follow that link, new subscriptions can get a deal. So perfect timing. You can order that up now. Be like, I bought you a magazine into the Christmas tree. And then they start showing up all throughout the year. And it's a really nice little bit of information, and it's nice that it's an actual full color physical thing. Yeah, so thank you, Ground for Market, for sponsoring us, and also for sending me this great reading material. I've been really enjoying it. Okay, so I've seen a few questions throughout the video about you guys asking about the wreaths. So the last video that went out about the foraging and everything was a little bit of a mash up of timelines, right? Because we had like our vacation, which was like kind of earlier in November, and then most of the foraging that we did was filmed a week ago, and then I filmed doing the wreaths recently, and so we also did a bunch of filming because this last weekend, last minute, like we decided to do this Christmas fair, this Christmas like market thing that was close to our house. It was like at one of the neighboring farms. And so the wreaths that I made to bring down to that fair. And so I have that video to edit up. But spoiler, we didn't sell any wreaths. There was someone else at the market who was also there with like greenery and stuff, where most of our display was dried flowers. So I think people didn't even really notice that we had the greenery stuff. And then the plan was that we were going to sell them from the roadside stand on Saturday, and then we got a huge amount of snow. And the roadside stand it's on the road, so it has this big pull out spot, but it was just too snowy for us to feel it was safe for people to be pulling off. So we were like, you know what, it's fine. The snow, it can kind of like settle down. And then, after work, kind of 3 to 5 on weekdays are really busy times for us for the roadside stand. So we're like, oh, we'll like set up on Monday. But then we woke up today and it had snowed again. So as of now, I've sold 0 wreaths, but partially because I haven't really given them a chance to sell. So what I need to do is I need to go onto like Facebook Marketplace. I need to let people know that I have these wreaths available to sell. Another item that we brought down to the craft fair was we did like dried flower ornaments, and they turned out really great. And I only sold about half of them at the craft fair. there. So I still have more of those that I can sell. But so we have like a bunch of fun Christmassy stuff that we're going to be sharing in the video that we're editing up. And then the plan is, so I saw people asking about swags. We're not going to do swags. Yeah, 0 out of 1,000,000, which means we've made $0 million. But you know, the goal on the wreaths, because I spent $1,000 to buy the wreath clamp machine and to buy all the wreath rings, including shipping, you know, and taxes and all that stuff. And then, oh, thank you so much, Lisa.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the great evening. Love the comments too. Yeah. What? Distracted.
$1,000.
Yeah, so we spent $1,000. We're in Canada, so everything's really expensive. And that included shipping and stuff. So, but I invested in like to a lot. I bought 300 wire frames and a bunch of other and the clamp, and I bought also rings that I could wire onto for the dried flowers if the clamp didn't work for the dried flowers. And the plan was that I was going to use it so the clamp, I was going to do my first experimenting with it with the evergreens for the Christmas wreaths, because it's a lot easier to work with the evergreens than it is to work with the dried flowers.
Yeah.
And I was going to do that to learn how to use it, and then I was going to use the machine to try to make some dried flower wreaths, which we'd sell more in the spring. They'd be less of like a winter item and more of a spring item. And then once we have it, I have a few other summer wreaths ideas, doing like different greenery, fresh greenery in the summer, fresh flowers in the summer type thing. So we can use it for that. But all I need to do is sell 20 evergreen wreaths, and that covers my investment.
Yeah. Better get to it. We have another big project coming up. It's going to take a lot of our time, because basically the entire inside of our house we need to paint. And I think it was it last winter that we got the windows done? So almost a year ago, we got windows swapped out in like almost every single room of the house. It wasn't all the windows, because this house is so big and like crazy, but it was a lot of different rooms, and the interior trim in a bunch of them was like pretty messed up, and the walls came apart in places. What's up, Sam?
I need mommy.
Just
Okay, here, you tell the window story.
So basically, we haven't really spent any time cleaning up from what they did when they changed the windows out. You know, it just became time to do the spring nursery sale, and then it, you know, went into the summer season, and it's like, we're not going to work on the inside of our house until next year, you know, save it for them. And now it is finally time, and we have to repaint. So we have to repaint our bedroom, which is like a crazy big room. It's this weird room. We have to repaint both of our kids' bedrooms. We have to repaint the spare bedroom. We have to repaint this room. We have to repaint a bathroom.
Wait, I forgot about the bathroom.
Although maybe not that one. Maybe that one can wait. And then there's some work
The smoking room.
in this room that's right here too.
But I don't know that we need to repaint this one.
Yeah, maybe this one.
I think this one is fine.
We're gonna do a lot of painting upstairs, so maybe we'll just leave this one be. One of the rooms, the spare bedroom, we're talking about turning into like a studio type place for us to do these live videos and be a fun spot where we can just also have like a green screen set up all the time, so we can go and record videos nice and easily.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of filming, because we used to film like do these live videos outside, like on the farm or in the outbuilding. And this started to be our spot to do them. partially because it can be a little bit quiet from the rest of the house, and then partially because the light used to be better. It's winter, so it gets dark at like noon now. But it's pretty dark and dreary in here now, and it doesn't necessarily look great. So we love doing these live videos. We love hanging out with all of you guys, but I think we would all appreciate
It'd be fun to have
if it
like
looked a bit better.
Yeah, like a better space.
Oh, the other reason, the reason why we started doing here is so during the fires, one of our local cell towers must have burnt down, and so the data in our area is like really inconsistent.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why we're inside, because we need to be on Wi-Fi instead of, we used to do it on data.
Yeah, like we're right in, like the town, and when we're down at the bottom at the barn, like a lot of the times I can't get my phone to hook up to a network down there, whereas just up here it does. So I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know where the tower is that it's connecting to, but everybody's been complaining about it.
They say
locally.
that part of the issue is that it's not necessarily that there is no tower, it's the fact that it's usage. There's so many people in this area that when they lost a third of the capacity, it just overwhelmed what was left.
Mm-hmm.
So the data is really slow around here. It'll be a little while, I'm sure, until they can get something back in place.
Yeah. I think we should move on to getting those kids to bed, though.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted this. I mean, this looks really bad. The light is horrible. But this is the other thing that we're going to be showing in the video that we got coming up.
Yep.
These are the dried flower Christmas ornaments, and it looks bad as I'm holding it up, but they look really good in person. Like they're really fun. We're really excited about them. And so this week we are going to make a dried flower Christmas tree. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, I think it'll turn out good.
Yeah.
We have so much dried flowers that we could do something with it.
Yeah.
We could fill it up. Really.
I'm thinking like I'll do it like even color themed. I'm thinking pink and yellow as like a color theme.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have like a fake Christmas tree that we don't use normally. So we're gonna like set it up down in the outbuilding and then just like cover it in dried flowers. I think it'll be really fun. We can hang the Christmas ornaments on it too.
Yep.
And then we're gonna do a video showing the making wreaths again, but we're gonna do like different styles. We're gonna do like a brown, like a with brown. We'll do one like a rainbow one with the with like the dried flowers. We'll show like a bunch of different styles, and we'll do. As I was editing the video of making the wreath, I realized we didn't really show a good. It was a difficult angle to show how the wreath clamp works, but I think it's a really cool tool.
Yeah.
So I think that we can do a better.
I'm glad we got it to work because I spent a couple hours building the table for it.
Yeah, Ian spent like a whole day.
Well, not a whole day. It went together pretty quick.
But he spent a significant amount of time getting it going for me. And then we're gonna. Did I say this already? We're gonna make a video showing about how to make these. I ordered more of these molds, and they showed up tonight. Yep. So I can do more of these. I know. I was like, they're not gonna be here in time for Christmas, but we did get them. So that's kind of our idea of like a handful of like Christmas videos before we move on to being like year in review.
Seed content.
Oh, and seeds.
Yeah.
I already have. Look at these eyebrows. That's how many seeds.
You got a lot of seeds.
That's how many seeds I got. What was my order? Like $3,000 or $3,500 on Johnny's seeds.
Yeah.
So I have a big order. My order is so big that I'm like, I don't even know how to share it with you guys. It can't be like a live video. It'll have to be like all of January and February. I'm just doing parts of the order for the thing.
Okay, we should.
Okay, but because there was one last question, and then we're gonna go. Okay. People were asking.
That's me. I gotta go.
Yeah, this.
So, someone was asking about my health. I'm feeling a lot better. The thing in the summer that I was having it ended up being like a stomach issue. So I'm on like a medication, you know, and it's seeming like, you know, as long as I don't eat tomatoes, that I'm pretty good. But so we didn't do any live video. We didn't do a live video, and we had like a week off gap, and that's because I had to get like gum surgery. So I couldn't talk for a week. So we had a little bit of gap because we couldn't film videos and we couldn't do the live videos because like my mouth was all swollen. But yeah, so if anyone was like worrying about us because we weren't there for a bit, you know, November is a good month for us to like take a chunk of time off. That's like why we went on the vacation, because the weather's usually still not super wintry in November. So it was a good window for us to be able to like leave the house. You know, it's not over the holidays, so it's not expensive to go on the trip. You know, and then we had a few other things scheduled. But yeah, that should probably be like our last gap, like big gap, in like the video content creation. We have a bunch of stuff, and then over the winter, we have like plans for doing a handful of kind of like review videos. Like this is our time of year when we kind of like we personally are reflecting on how the year has gone, you know, making plans for the next year. And we also, you know, use this time on the channel to be able to kind of, you know, put together the lessons that we've learned. So a video series that we've done the last 2 years, which we're going to do again, is the 10 things I learned third year farming. So we'll take some time and we'll come up with like 10 of like our big lessons that we've learned, so that you can learn from us and not make our mistakes. And then we will do how much money we made farming video. We need to, our year end for the business is the end, is like a calendar year end, so the end of the month. So we need to like crunch all of our numbers. We've kind of been slacking off on that. We don't know how much money we made yet. And then Ian really wants to make how much money I made on YouTube video, just because we made a lot of money on that video last year. And I think that's funny. The video is kind of off topic, but I think it's funny to make a video saying how much money you made and then make lots of money on it. So, you know, just for the hijinks, I'm willing to make that one again. And then I also, you know, I want to talk about the seeds that I have, probably in the live videos. You know, we'll probably talk a little bit more about the Growing for Market magazine, because like there's a lot of articles that I'm really excited about in there, and you know, share some of the things I'm learning with you guys. You know, and then we'll talk. There's like a bunch of, every year I do seed trials basically on the farm. So every year there's a few things that I'm kind of like giving some time and attention to try to decide what it is I like to grow, and like what maybe needs to get phased out. So I did some work on peppers this last year, so I should probably make a video where I talk about what I've learned about growing peppers and choosing pepper varieties. And then yeah, there's a few other like, you know, best new seeds type videos before we then get into like seed starting stuff. So no big breaks, lots of stuff coming. Yeah, and so I gotta go, but yeah, I saw we should update our Amazon wish list. Because I was thinking about that as I was thinking about this video. I was like, I think most of the stuff that we've put on there has disappeared. But yeah, we'll put a few kid things on there. But yeah, so thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you got some ideas there. Hopefully, you know, some of our gift thinking is a little bit helpful and usable for you guys.
Salanova lettuce, right? The gift that nobody expects and everybody loves.
I mean, you're not wrong. Okay, well, I'll see you guys next week. And thanks again. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.